Hello, thanks for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Équinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, Cameroon's Minister of Territorial Administration, Tanganji Paul, restricts the sale and purchase of machetes and other iron equipments in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. Those willing or wishing to purchase such equipments henceforth will need authorization from the divisional officer of their areas of residence, and this is contained in an administrative order signed by the Minister of Territorial Administration. Tanganji Paul, and out of the country, a coup d'etat attempt is on the way in Mali, and the military, supported by the population, are struggling to overthrow President Boubacar Keïta and his government. Details coming up next. Thanks, dear viewers, for joining us on this edition of the news. We're going to begin right away in the crisis-hit southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, where security and defense forces have intensified the search for some individuals who are said to have attacked bears, burning it down, a public transport bears, and the vehicle of a gendarme officer in that part of the country. These are some of the recent incidents recorded within the context of the 4-year-long armed conflict hitting the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. David Sunmaimo reports.
Is one of the vehicles that actually was put ablaze by unidentified men. We are having information that what actually happened is a work of separatists. They are struggling to instill fear within the people as far as Limbe and Fako division is concerned. Monday the 17th of August 2020, at about 1 p.m., 2 vehicles and a motorbike set ablaze around Camp 7, Limbe Mutengene stretch of road by suspected separatist fighters. Eyewitness account holds that the suspected separatist fighters placed a bike on the road with one person lying on the tarmac and 2 others standing by the roadside, an indication that an accident has occurred. The scene lured the driver of the first vehicle, a Toyota Starlet private car, who slowed down to offer assistance, falling into their trap. The same scenario was replicated that led of a Toyota Picnic clandestine vehicle en route to Douala, equally falling into their trap. Sources say the suspected separatists were interested in abducting the drivers on grounds of violating the traditional Monday's ghost town. The occupant of the Toyota Starlet, alleged to be a gendarmerie officer, is said to have been taken to a nearby bush, while the driver of the clandestine vehicle successfully managed to escape after sustaining bruises on the leg as he mingled with the rest of the passengers who were asked by the gunmen to run for their life, fleeing to Camp 7, a CDC camp located within the area. The incident halted circulation of vehicles within the stretch of road, with the defense and security forces arriving at the scene 15 minutes after the suspected separatist fighters have all disappeared into nearby bushes. Every effort from the different unit of the defense and security forces made up of the B from Manawa Bay, the amphibious battalion from Tiko, and the Marines from Esongo, including the National Gendarmerie, to fish out the gunmen combing the entire nearby bushes, was fruitless. A swap patrol between elements of the defense and security forces from Tiko and Limbe have been intensified along the stretch of road, with intelligence gathering ongoing to track down the gang. Since this incident occurred, the military, the defense and security forces have been combing the entire area, making sure that they continue maintaining peace and order within this area. I'm David Sunmaimo for Équinoxe Television, live along the Mutengene.
And condemnation continue rising to the sky from almost all quarters with regards to the recent killing of a woman in the crisis-hit southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, and the government continues sending comfort to the family of the young woman. Today, the Chief of Cabinet at the Prime Ministry was there to comfort the family of the deceased. Derry Jato reports.
The grave of Comfort Tumasan in Makanga Moyoka subdivision Abonnez Confiance, Director of Cabinet at the Prime Minister's office, visited the bereaved family. He is sent by Cameroon Prime Minister and Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute, with a condolence message, especially to the mother of the late Comfort Tumasan, who was murdered last August 10, 2020, by separatist fighters.
Today, Prime Minister to say no, make it send me.
I have been sent by Cameroon Prime Minister and Head of Government to condole with you, the PM's envoy, through the bereaved mother, in pidgin language. The Prime Minister was touched when he saw how your daughter was being murdered. Her death shook the world, he added.
Government don't always do for say this problem come to an end.
And the government is working hard to end the crisis. The crisis that took the life of her daughter is still on. And this subdivision called Moyoka in the southwest region seemed to be the epicenter. The security situation here is still very tense.
He also asked me to reiterate the call of the head of state to the youths who are still in the bushes to drop down their arms and come and join their friends who are in town and some in the DDR centers to make their life better. Instead of doing what we saw, it has received widespread condemnation. We also wish to see this opportunity to call on our population to be more vigilant.
The two children of her late daughter are no longer living with her. The family took them somewhere, at least for them to stay alive and one day be able to tell the story of a war that separated their mother from them forever.
And the government continues struggling to put an end to the atrocities being committed in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. The Minister of Territorial Administration of the Republic of Cameroon, Atanganji, has imposed some restrictions on the sale and purchase of machetes, axes, and iron rods in the two English-speaking regions, and in an administrative order to the governors of the two regions, he says every person wishing to buy the aforementioned equipment must obtain an authorization from the divisional officer of his or area of residence and must present to the seller a national identity card, telephone number, house location, and other identification papers, and farmers must present proofs that they have a plantation, and those buying rods for building are expected to present building permits, and these requirements for the purchase of machete and other equipments in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Henceforth, the purchase of machetes has been restricted in order to put an end or limit the atrocities committed with the aid of these items. And of course, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Atanganji Paul, says that all defaulters will be sanctioned. All defaulters will not only be sanctioned, but will be considered as suspects and potential terrorists. And we talked to a legal mind, Barrister Kamwa Limen, president of the Kamwa Limen law firm. And this is what he had to say concerning this.
Okay, Mr. Babila, I have gone through the order, the ministerial order from the Territorial Administration. And the very first thing I want us to accept is that the government has a responsibility to protect citizens. You understand? There is a theory in international law called triple pronged theory in human rights law, which creates a triple obligation on every government to protect its citizens. And therefore, the government is in place to protect the people in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon, whom we all agree are victims of those acts as mentioned in the order. Now, if you want to know if the minister acted ultra vires, I think he did not act ultra vires. He acted within his powers. But what the substance of the order is where I have a problem. The implementation of such an order. You see, how do you restrict people from building their houses? Because if you go through, you see that it says those who have, they can only sell those iron rods to people who have building permits, and that people without building permit are considered as suspects, right, perpetrating such act. It is wrong. It is wrong. The people in those areas, there are villages that you don't need a building permit to build a house. So those people will not build houses because they need an authorization. Then you go further by saying that if they need a cutlasses or machetes, they should go and they should apply and do what it is. To me, its applicability is wanting. It is going to create more violation than what he seeks to regress. If they don't comply, what happens? It means that they have violated an order. Are you getting me? It violates an order. Now, taking superiority of laws, this is just an order from a minister. People have the right to build their houses, which is an international right. It's human right. They have the right to build. They need to buy batches and go to farm. It is a right. So if government thinks that in doing this, they are stopping those, what happens to those people who have the machete already? Are they going to start entering houses that they want to seize machetes in the houses of people? It is wrong. So
the division of officers almost everywhere.
It doesn't make sense.
It also tells them what proofs.
And so, in my humble opinion, he should withdraw this thing. It's a piece of nonsense. He should withdraw it, and then the government, the prime minister, should see into it that this thing honestly is being withdrawn, because of those people to a point that even to go to farm, you need to go and apply, get an authorization to be able to buy machetes.
Lehman is raising concerns on the implementation of such a decision and its capacity to yield the desired fruits, that of reducing, or why not putting an end to the atrocities being committed in those two regions. Another legal mind, Barrister Achu Julius, thinks that the minister has taken the right step, that's the right direction, and that it's going to yield the desired fruits. Take a listen to Barrister Achu Julius. Can we go?
We saw a lot of brutal and disgusting images in the last weeks, how the throats of women have been slitted open as if they are chicken or pigs or whatever. It's been so disgusting that, to me, I expected that the government was supposed to do something to some sort of take some certain measures that such things should not happen any longer. You know, ordinarily, Cameroon is a country where so many things are tolerated. The government has a very, very big extent of tolerance on certain issues. So if you see people take machetes to transform into arms to kill victims, to kill Cameroonians, instead of taking it to use on farms, you know there's something wrong. Normally, anybody who doesn't have a cutlass as of date, who is a farmer, should have a problem. So anybody going out to buy a cutlass from a shop, we should have every reason to believe that there's something wrong. Because normally, when farmers want to buy things like cutlasses, they buy them as many as possible at one time. But you see, if somebody just comes in to buy a cutlass or get it, you should always suspect there's something wrong behind it. The same thing has been noticed that people use iron rods to make bullets, which are meant to fight the war. Normally those things are not ammunition meant for war, but its usage has been transformed by some people and some sort of abusing the rights of using such iron rods, which is meant for building, for something else. So the government being a regulator of issues in the country, the government being the person in charge of protection of the population, the government being the person in charge of making sure that public security and public order is maintained. And all of this is under the Minister of Territorial Administration. That's why they call them chef, who manages the DOs, the SDOs, and the governors. Measures have to be taken which are applicable all through Cameroon, all through the territory. Because when one such precautious measure, because it is not a preventive measure, it is not a is some sort of precaution that the government is taking to control those who carry such utensils like cutlasses and such people that buy iron rods. Normally, to build a house in Cameroon, you need a building permit to justify, or a building permit authorized by the mayor or the authorities of the area for you to build. Laws are made by men, yes. Laws are still respected by men, yes. But we know that some people will decide to go against the rules put in the society to control societal behavior. So, notwithstanding what the minister has done, it is right as a minister of territorial administration, we still know that there will be some persons who will decide to flout it because we are not in heaven and the world is not perfect, and that people who think left, people think right, people think center.
In the meantime, opposition politicians in the country think that government authorities have run out of ideas on how to solve the Anglophone crisis, and they are blaming the governments for the high number of deaths recorded within the past close to 4 years of the armed conflict in those two regions. For me, Armstrong Sander compiled their views in this report.
The number of persons killed in the armed conflicts in the Anglophone regions of Cameroon is on a disturbing increase, and the opposition in Cameroon believes that the government is responsible. The opposition says a deaf-ear attitude of the Yaoundé government has facilitated the worsening nature of the Anglophone crisis.
Le SDF, le MRC, le CPP de Kawala, l'UPC.
The opposition in Cameroon, notably the SDF, the CRM, the CPP and other key opposition political parties, are unanimous that the government has failed to handle this crisis adequately. We all agree that the government should, as a matter of most and urgency, convene a dialogue, a true and unconditional dialogue with separatist leaders in order to find a lasting solution to the armed conflict in the Anglophone regions.
Mais le gouvernement ne prend aucune disposition pour arrêter les tueries dans le sud-ouest et le nord-ouest.
In the same light, the representative of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party and its allies says the worsening nature of the armed conflict in the Anglophone regions is a proof of failure on the part of the Yaoundé regime.
Le régime de Monsieur Biya,
the Biya regime, according to Thierry Okala, a body of the CRM party, has run out of ideas at a time when many lives are still being lost in the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions. He blames the military option of the government of Cameroon on the high number of deaths recorded in the northwest and southwest regions.
Au nom de la politique, le Cameroun est sacrifié.
To the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement's political party, the resolution of the Anglophone crisis is the responsibility of all Cameroonians, without exception. Speaking on behalf of his CPTM political party, Professor Mesanga Nyamding regrets that Cameroon has been sacrificed by Cameroonians because of the quest for power. He, however, maintained that the call for a ceasefire coming from the international community is a non-event for the government, as a regular army, according to him, should never be demanded to drop its weapons at a time when it is fighting to defend its territorial integrity.
Private residence of a woman here in the country's economic capital, Douala, or rather in Banga, in the Mongo division of the littoral region of the country, has been destroyed by bike riders. The bike riders stormed the residence and destroyed it in anger over allegations or claims that the woman was harboring somebody who killed one of the colleagues, and the victim died at the La Cantine Hospital after suffering an attack. Smanjikan Gabriel has more.
Bike riders in Banga, Mongo division, go on rampage. This resident was destroyed by angered bike riders who claim that the owner of the house is keeping thieves. Even though the owner wasn't around at the time of the destruction, it was the timely intervention of the forces of law and order that the house behind wasn't set ablaze.
You see the population here, all of them are coming because there is a lady here with a restaurant. They removed more than 4 to 7 bikes in his compound. So she's not even around, she's in Yaoundé. So the police and gendarmes are trying to protect those Benskin drivers not to burn the house. So please, I'm not understanding. All this time that we are hearing terrible acts in Banga. So please, they should try to put the measure. Such things should not be happening in our municipality.
The bike riders began agitating since Monday after they learned that one of theirs has been attacked by thieves.
There was one attack, they said the Benskin was attacked by his friend. So they slaughtered his neck. When they took the cops to Monkupe, they realized that the case was not easy for them to take care. So they took the child in Douala. This morning we just realized that the guy is dead, the Benskin is dead.
When the incident occurred, the angry bike riders went to the office of the divisional officer in Banga to lay a complaint, but unfortunately, according to reports, a deaf ear was given to them.
Manjik and Gabriel reporting there, and the lifeless body of the victim, Nganta Michel Abitam, has been transported to Mbanga in the Mungo Division littoral region of the country. He died earlier today at the Lakantini Hospital after he was attacked by suspected bandits Sunday night, breaking Monday, and as a result of the death of the bike rider, his colleagues stormed and destroyed the residence that you saw in those images in the Mbanga, claiming that the owner of the residence was harboring the suspected bandits who killed their colleague. And now on to something else. We're going to talk about the problem of forceful or early marriages in the Republic of Cameroon. This remains a major threat to the rights of women and young girls in the country, according to findings by the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family. Over 40% of young women in the country are caught in the trap of forceful or early marriages. Details with Immaculate Fogwe.
Early and forced marriages is yet to be completely eradicated in Cameroon. Figures from the country's Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family say at least 40% of Cameroonian teenage girls are forced into marriage, usually with older men. In Kutaba, Noon Division, West region of Cameroon, forced and early marriages is at its peak. Children whose ages range between 12 and 15 are given out to men old enough to be their father. In order to rectify the situation faced by some teenage girls, the Kutaba Council has organized a workshop in order to sensitize women on the dangers of early and forced marriages.
Underage girl at 40 years to marriage is not good. 13 years, it's a very terrible life, so we have to be very careful and to decide what is good for our children, because we are not going to stay there. The children, it's only the children is going to stay there, but we the parents, we are not there, so we have to check.
Senator Aminatu Ngangwe equally condemns the act, calling on women to rather send their kids to school.
L'engagement personnel irrévocable.
Young girls should be sent to school in order to secure their future. This is why we are sensitizing these women for them to understand the disadvantages of early and forced marriages. According to the World Health Organization, there are far-reaching consequences to the continuing practice of child marriages, as many girls are often stripped of educational opportunities, and girls between the ages 15 to 20 face health complications associated with adolescent childbearing.
And out of the country, I told you in the headlines, a coup d'etat attempt is currently on the way in Mali, and protesters with that is the population and military officers have stormed the streets, and the residents of the president of that country, Boubacar Keita, and they are battling to overthrow the current government of the country. And of course they have been chanting the downfall of the present government of Mali, and the situation is quite tense in the Malian capital, Bamako. The situation has been tense since morning when gunshots were heard near the capital before the protesters stormed the streets supporting the military of that country. We'll be keeping you updated on the situation in Mali. Talking Point is up next. Thanks for staying with us in Talking Points. Today we are receiving a young politician in the Republic of Cameroon. Lionel Kungaba is a member of the Social Democratic Front SDF political party. Thanks for joining us today.
Good afternoon, Jonathan. Good afternoon to all our viewers. It's always a pleasure to be here on Équinoxe Tv to enlighten our citizens on issues related to our nation. I think we'll be able to share with them what is our thoughts at the Social Democratic Front this evening concerning some pertinent issues we'll discuss about.
All right. First of all, I want to find out from you, how is it like being a young active politician in the Cameroonian context, where notably in the opposition at a time when there is a stiff repression on opposition politicians in the country?
You know, Jonathan, we young people, we play a vital role in the constructive socio-political, economic and other aspects of life of a country through democratic and a very constructive way. But what is a bit disturbing in this our country is that the place of the youth is not well recognized, because we are seeing what is happening in our country as insecurity, and young people are really involved. But we are a bit surprised that in the process or that is being put in place to make sure that peace come back in these regions, young people are not really involved. So I think there's still a lot to be done in order to consider the efforts that are being done by young people. As a young politician,
many young people are shying away from active politics. What brought you into active politics?
I think I was inspired by by politicians. First of all, by my grandparents. My grandparents are politicians, and when I grew up, I was like envying those who were excelling into politics. I saw the chairman of the the chairman of the Social Democratic Front, who came in a town where I was still a student in primary school. And that day I said I will do politics. And as I went through the basic text and of all the major political parties we had in Cameroon, I was seduced by that of the Social Democratic Front, and up to today I've been there. I'm happy.
What has been your driving force over the years?
I'm happy that I was welcomed in the party very well, and I was trained up and mentored by a lot of people. I was fortunate to be a parliamentary candidate in 2007 when I was still 23, and I went in for the twin election last February. I think we having been into politics for this while, has given me a lot of experience on what is happening in Cameroon, and to exactly know how the system that has been ruling for over 35 years.
And what has kept you going? What has kept you going over these years?
I think I have that feeling, I have that belief, and I have the conviction that things will change, because the ideology the Social Democratic Front is carrying is an ideology that is for the betterness and the goodness of the people. And I think that ideology up to today, from the 1990s that the party was launched till today, we can still see that what was said during the 1990s, during the launching of the party, is what we are seeing over and over today. I was surprised to see that a decree just came up today to say to say some things are going on in the Northwest.
Right, we're going to talk about that.
So those are things that SDF have been talking about for years and years and years, and today we are surprised that people are seeing it as if it is new. No, it's not new.
We're going to talk about that in a short while.
Okay.
Let me know some of the challenges that you as a young person you face in navigating through the difficult political terrain in Cameroon.
First of all, as a young person, we have the first challenge that we have in Cameroon is the challenge to have a job and to have access to the basic necessities. That's the social necessities like education, good health, and a decent job after that. As a politician, you don't have to depend, and if you depend, you will not be able to deliver what you are out for. And I think most of the challenges we, the young people, we face in Cameroon is that we don't have the means in order to invest as far as we can into politics. But
financial constraints. Okay, let's talk about that. What you were mentioning earlier, the decision of the Minister of Territorial Administration to impose restrictions on the sale of machetes, axes, and iron rods in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. The minister has instructed the governors to make sure that the decision is implemented. Anybody wanting to purchase such equipments is expected to get an authorization from the divisional officer of his or her area, and is expected to show some documents, to present some documents to the sellers, notably an ID card, a building permit for those who are building houses, who are buying iron rods, and a proof of a plantation, of an existing plantation that is concerning farmers, and other identification documents. What do you think about this decision?
I think Minister Tanganji once have lost the chance to stay quiet, because if you don't have a solution to a problem, you don't have to activate or to instigate people to be more radicalized. What is going in Northwest and Southwest today is not because people have been buying machetes and rods in the market. I will not stand here to encourage what is being done by the secessionists or the fighters on the field, but I will say if today we have these fighters armed on the field, it's because of the laxity, it's because of the non-political will of the CPDM and Mr. Bia and his whole government in order to solve the issues that was brought up by the lawyers and the teachers in the Northwest and Southwest. Today, we have found young people that are radicalized, they are using rods, they are using axes, they are using machetes to assassinate and to kill people. But I want to say, today, you are asking us, you're asking my grandfather, you're asking my parents to buy machetes with an authorization. How will you handle those who are already in the bushes with arms, sophisticated arms, and other war machineries that are already on the field? I think this is just a decree that came up to distract Cameroonians once more. We have been condemning what is happening in the Northwest and Southwest.
But it's intended to mitigate or the impact of the crisis, to reduce the number of
Jonathan, I don't think we need cosmetic. We don't need cosmetic solutions for the crisis. How is it cosmetic? This is a cosmetic solution. I think the problem is not the problem of the violence that is going on in the Northwest and Southwest. Mr. Bia and his government, Atanganji, who is the Minister of Territorial Administration, who is a native of the Northwest, Bamenda 1, knows exactly what is the problem of the people and what can be the solution. Some of us had the opportunity to be at the national dialogue, which we thought we are going there to bring in something that will help change the solution in the Northwest and Southwest, because we had at heart our people in the Northwest and Southwest. But I'm surprised that after that dialogue, today we are still there marching, playing or dancing Bafia dance, going front and back. And I think Cameroonians, Anglophones from Northwest and Southwest are fed up. I just want to say that after this decree that has been signed, I just hope they will go from store to store to seize all the weapons that are already packed in those stores, because they don't control the stores, and the stores will still continue to sell. How are they selling ammunition and guns in our region?
Thank you, Lionel Kungaba, for coming. You are a member of the Social Democratic Front. You're going to hand over your seats to yet another politician who will be joining us this evening to discuss issues of national interest. She is one of the tough female politicians, one of the tough talking female politicians in the country, and we're going to be looking at the way out of the impasse, the way out of the unstable socio-political and security situation of the Republic of Cameroon. And she belongs to the Cameroon People's Party and Stand Up for Cameroon Civil Society platform. These political and civil society platforms preaching what is known as political transition in Cameroon. They believe that the only way out of the trouble in the Northwest and Southwest regions, out of other socio-economic and political challenges affecting Cameroon, is a political transition. Bejelin Dumu, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Babila. And it's like you are not believing to the political transition, seeing how things are worsening. If there is another way to get out of this mess, we will welcome that solution.
The Minister of Territorial Administration is taking measures, taking decisions with other government members, the Prime Minister and all the other government authorities to put an end to the bloodshed, to put an end to the killings in the Northwest and Southwest regions of the country. And one of them, the most recent, is concerns restrictions on the sale of machetes, axes and other iron rods in those two regions. What do you think about this? Can it not produce some result in terms of putting an end to the trouble?
Babila, first of all, I will present my condolence, the condolence of Stand Up for Cameroon, CPP, Mothers of the Nation, to all the families who are losing, who lost their dearest one, who are losing their dearest, and who will continue losing their dearest one. And it will become horrible and horrible, seeing how the kind of solution that are proposing. And it will be interesting for us to go back a little bit in the history of this war. The conflict started in 2016, it's about 4 years, and the history of this conflict is teaching us that, is telling us that the one who signed the decree this afternoon,
the Minister of Territorial Administration.
Yes, in December, was the one who even bring the crisis into the blood.
How did he do that?
You remember the meeting of the CPDM in Bamenda in December, 8 December 2016. This is the moment we start seeing how the conflict become violent. And we all know that everybody was aware that that meeting should not take place, but it took place, and we jumped into the violence, the conflict and violence. So he's the one who worsened the crisis. The same story is teaching us that he's the one who said that there is no Anglophone crisis.
But
the same history is teaching us that he's signing a decree today about axes, cutlasses and everything. But first there was another decree for arm fire and so on. he decided
firearms.
For firearms, he signed the same decree to rescind. How do you say? We say
restrictions, imposing restrictions.
Restriction on the using of even those to sell, those selling arms, arms fire, those holding arms fire must be must be booked somewhere. Like
they must have authorization.
Yes.
They must be licensed. They must have license.
Yes. Even those who were to buy arms fire need a process. He come back with a process. The same he's doing today with cutlasses, with axes and other things. He will soon jump in our kitchen. He will soon jump in our kitchen, say that we will no longer use forks, we will no longer use spoons, even tissues, even because we can use all these tools also can be used to kill. So until we address the real cause of the problem, he can sign all the decree that he wants. He will continue radicalizing Cameroonians. He will continue radicalizing this young Cameroonian. He will continue radicalizing this population who are moderate, because we must emphasize on this. The population are moderate, but every day by denying bringing a real situation, a deep situation, we must be a dialogue. We must be how do you say, dropping arms and so on. They are there signing communicate that we are not going to use our tools, our weapons.
Let me understand. How is an administrative order that has as aim to put an end to killings radicalizing young people?
Okay, so by signing, Babila, you mean that by signing that communique that we should not use longer axes and other things?
No, that people should obtain authorization to buy and to...
I can buy it and give it to you. I can have the authorization and give it to you. Are you seeing the thing?
To commit the atrocities.
I can buy the... It means that you are allowing those another traffic going on. We know all the traffic going on in this our country, mostly in northwest and southwest. You will give a boulevard to another traffic, which is those who can buy machete, who can buy cutlasses, who can buy
all the iron rods.
Yes, can buy it for others.
All right. Now you think that you of the CPP and the Stand Up for Cameroon, that the only way is political transition. Why do you think so, and how can this happen?
What I was about to say before you take the floor was, who is going to be the real victim of this decision? Who? Farmers who have already been in a so bad situation now that they were expecting more than that. We were expecting more than that to bring the country out of this situation, and now they're coming with a decree. All right, and we will continue. As we used to say, the real solution will never come from these people. As I said it before, he's the one with his comrade, with the government, who would decide to bring an army solution to a political problem. Until Cameroonians stand and say, these people who have brought the crisis, who have brought arms, who have bring two regions in conflict, until we Cameroonians decide that they will stop, they must stop, the situation will continue to worsen. Seeing how kind of solution they are bringing. We have Grand National Dialogue. We have all these decree coming out, DO from here and there, signing decision. Where are we? We are seeing through what is happening. Now we are seeing how people are cutting. I'm coming from southwest. A gendarme were butchered yesterday. Cars were burned yesterday along the Limbe Douala Road. He's signing He's signing a decree not to use cutlasses and so on. How about those who already has these cutlasses? So are they going to hang it back? So Babila, all what we need, I'm not even talking to you, I'm talking to Cameroonians.
Yeah, so what do
we are the one who are allowing these people to bring our country in such a chaos. We are the one, we Cameroonians. We are the problem now because we are letting them making what is unacceptable. We are facing horror now. So as CPP, as Stand Up for Cameroon, we are still crying. We are still calling Cameroonians to stand and put pressure so that this government must go out. We must throw them out and take back our country.
Benjamin Ndumu of the Cameroon People's Party, thanks for your time. And we are wrapping up this edition of the news with latest information streaming into our studios from Mali. The attempted coup d'etat is on the way, and the latest information streaming from there indicates that the country's president Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta has been arrested by the military, and he has been arrested together with his prime minister. We'll keep you updated on that. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Goodbye.